built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Diffuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked the mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win.
All right, everybody. Now we are, we had to end that one in. Now we're actually here on Dave's Doghouse. Yeah, you're right, Joe. Good warm up. But great rises, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. Like I said, some people may have just their days may just be getting started. So let's definitely hope that everyone has a great day. They enjoy it And yeah, man, I'm just, I'm excited about today's show. I'm here to give you guys some great content. Talked about the lowlights and highlights of everybody in the sports world. It could be football, basketball, tennis, golf, doesn't matter what it is. I'm here to talk about everybody who I think is having a great time and people that are not having a great time. Some people have good takes or bad takes. Doesn't matter what it is. So that's what I'm here to talk about. But I am live on X, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you're subscribed to Dave's Doghouse on YouTube, if not, then make sure you like, share, and subscribe on there. My Twitter, I'm live on there, and I'm live on Facebook as well. So if you're watching right now, like, share, subscribe to somebody who you think will enjoy this show. Shout out to all the guys in the network. Shout out to all the shows. You got CTC, RBO in the red corner. Of course, the R2L, the regular show. We got FFC, we got CTC and BWT. So shout out to all those guys. And you got King Talk as well. And you're live right now watching me on Dave's Doghouse. So, man, we got some people that are about to, finally break that mold and finally have a chance to be out. So, who possibly could be having their first day out? Well, let's talk about let me show you everyone that's in here right now. So you got, Sean Payton, Tiki Barber. We got the slam dunk contest, the All-Star game. We got plenty of people in here that are going to be here for a good little while. But there's one person here who I believe needs to be taken out for other reasons, not for a positive reason, but, So, Tom, if you're watching, there's a guy that I think belongs on your segment of Your Done Son. And I think if you look at this, I don't think I need to tell you who it is. If you're in the baseball chat, you may know exactly who I'm talking about. So I'm going to just leave it at that. There are some really, really interesting things that I have to talk about today. And there's somebody that deserves to be taken out of the doghouse because of what he's done from his transition from one place to another. And that's John Calipari. Now, I know I originally had put him in because of Kentucky and all the failures he's had at Kentucky. They haven't had much success. And out of all those years, he has one national championship out of the entire time he's been in Kentucky. The entire time he's been a head coach in college basketball, he only has one national championship. Even with all that talent he's had players like John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis. He coached Derrick Rose. all this talent, all this NBA talent, MVP caliber players, all-star players, all NBA players, and in college, he only has one national championship to show for it. However, his transition to Arkansas has been pretty much smooth. He's done everything he needs to do to continue having a strong recruiting class. I believe Arkansas is top 5 in recruiting class right now, just because of what he's done, along with the transfer portal, bringing guys over from Kentucky with him. I mean, he's a great recruiter. He has always been known for that, and now he's bringing all of that right with him where he is now. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Just had a couple of little difficulties, but look, he's done great for what he's bringing to Arkansas, and Arkansas is in the he's bringing something to the SEC that they haven't necessarily seen. Um, we got Alabama that's really good right now with Nate Oates as their head coach. So man, it's something to look out for, especially where he is in Arkansas. I believe he's going to bring that there. He was already in Kentucky, which is also in the SEC. Kentucky pretty much they ran it for a very long time, but then you got people like Georgia and Alabama that are starting to become college basketball schools. So he's bringing it to Arkansas now, and Arkansas ain't really known for college basketball. They're known for college football, and they're barely known for college football. It's not like they've won a lot of championships in college football, but we know about college football when it comes to Arkansas. But he's bringing it to basketball now. So John Calipari, I believe now you deserve to be out. So now you're out of the doghouse. All right, now there's another person that I'm going to be bringing out of the doghouse for another reason. Just had a fight not too long ago with Jaime, and he pretty much looked like he was unaffected in that entire fight, and that's Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, of course, fought a younger guy. He's had over 60 plus fights in his career. He only has 2 losses out of that. Out of his entire career, Bivol was one of those losses as well, along with Floyd Mayweather. So those are the only 2 guys he's ever lost to. And right now, it seems like he's on the move to pretty much make a big fight soon. Now we all want that to be David Benavidez because of what he brings to the table. We also have had talk. We've heard talks of him possibly fighting Terrence Crawford. Now, don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but that may or may not happen. But right now, that's how it goes. But he had an outstanding fight. He actually could have knocked him out if he wanted to, but he showed him some. To me, it seemed like he showed him some grace by not knocking out, because he had plenty of time to pretty much take over. And shout out to Jaime as well. Jaime had a pretty much good fight. Even though he got knocked down, he still was there fighting. He was aggressive throughout the fight. It's just that Canelo was just the better boxer. He was a better fighter that night, and Canelo's now out of the doghouse. So Canelo, you're out now, but don't think you can't get back in here. So just letting you know that. All right, now we got to talk about the new members of the doghouse. Now, for those tuning in, if you don't know what the doghouse is, it's for the lowlights, the guys that are not doing good, people that have bad takes, people that do bad in sports, that have something crazy that happens that shouldn't have happened, but it happens anyway. So I'm here to pretty much talk about, you know, talk about those things and let you know who I believe belongs in the doghouse. Also, some have been submitted to me. So there's a few in here that were submitted that belongs, and we will make sure we talk about those people. So two of these I submitted, two of these I did not submit, but we're going to go ahead and get started. There's this one guy who's been in sports media for a while, and he's had some very, very bad takes for a while, and I have yet to talk about him. Don't know why it's taking me this long, but he continues to just say things that makes absolutely no sense. And most of the time it's not even sports related. It's to me his takes, like I said, it doesn't make sense. He's talked about the way people look as far as if you would consider them a leader just because of the way that they dress and stuff like that. I'm talking about Colin Cowherd. For those of you who don't know who Colin Cowherd is, he's a he's a sports show host for In the Herd. He also has a sports network that he has as well. Um, that some other athletes and stuff and other guys that are involved in sports media are also a part of. So he's giving people opportunity. However, some of his takes just have not made any sense. He's criticized some players just because they put their hats backwards. And he just said that about JJ Redick. He just said JJ Redick doesn't look like he should be a head coach because he doesn't look like a leader because he wears his cap backwards. He said the same thing about Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy wears his cap backwards. How many people have to dress business wise all the time for you to believe that they're just a leader? Some people wear suits aren't good leaders. You do know that, Colin. Some of your takes just don't make a lot of sense. And exactly, Joe. So JJ Redick has a podcast with LeBron James. If you all don't know that, make sure you look at that when you go look at that podcast. I don't remember the name of the podcast, but JJ Redick and LeBron James have a podcast that's out now. JJ Redick is also featured on ESPN a lot as an NBA analyst. And he doesn't have a hat on. He wears a suit. He looks sharp. So just because he wears a cap on a podcast, he's not fit to be a leader or be a head coach. Colin, I swear sometimes you don't think about what you say. And if you do, you may need a new brain because that just does not make any sense whatsoever. Thank you, Joe. So it's called Mind the Game. So Mind the Game with LeBron James and JJ Redick. So go watch it if you haven't. If you don't, they have some really good takes in there. Some bad takes that I didn't like as well. Of course, I'm a Miami Heat fan, so we know where that comes from. But still, it's a really good show. And when he said that about Brock Purdy went to the Super Bowl. So just because you don't see him as a leader, you don't think that they should be a leader, and you don't even pay attention to everything that they do. It's not about how you look on the outside. It's about what you bring to the table. It's about your mind of the game. It's your leadership in the locker room, how they feel about you, how players, how coaches, how the organization. That's what the leadership is. It's more about what you bring to the game internally than what it is what you wear. Like, Colin, I really don't know what you be thinking sometimes when you say this stuff in your show. Your co-host too. Your co-host says some wild stuff as well. But I'm more so focused on you right now. So Colin Cowherd, like I said, I really don't understand your thought process when it comes to some of your takes. And your quarterback list too. For some reason, you always have Josh Allen as top 2 or top 3 when Josh Allen hasn't reached the Super Bowl and he can't beat Kansas City. He got toe up by Joe Burrow in the playoffs the year before, and then got toe up again this year. Like, come on, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. So, Colin, welcome to the doghouse. My guy, you in the doghouse. All right. Now that we got that straight, got someone else now that needs to be talked about, man. So, like I said, the NBA playoffs have just started. We have some people that have been playing really well, some people that haven't been, and we just have to talk about them. There's been a lot going on in baseball and hockey and soccer, but there's a player that, who looked good in round 1, especially going up against a team that they have pretty much owned for the last 2 seasons, and he pretty much didn't step up to the plate this time. He has not looked good whatsoever the last few times, and I'm here to talk about him. Someone said that if he was to win the championship this year, he could very well be a Hall of Famer. Well, Jamal Murray, it doesn't look like you, at least at this very moment, it doesn't look good of you winning a second championship this year. So Jamal Murray is not playing well right now, especially in this series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's pretty much getting locked up. However, it's not even just this series. This playoffs has been a little bit overshadowed because he hit 2 game winners against the Lakers, pretty much. And pretty much a gentleman's sweep. This playoffs, he's only shooting 38% from the field and 29% from 3. In the last game against the Timberwolves, he had more turnovers than field goals, and he had more heat packs thrown than threes. He has one of the lowest field goal percentages in the playoff game for the Denver Nuggets. The lowest is Carmelo Anthony at 6.3 in 2004, who also has another one with 18.8% in 2009. But Jamal Murray in the last game shot 16.7% from the field in that game. And there's going to be some people who say, well, Jamal Murray's hurt. Well, Jamal Murray was also hurt against the Lakers, but that didn't stop them from being able to beat them 4-1. That didn't stop them from saying that he could be a Hall of Famer if he wins the championship this year. He ain't playing well. Let's just be honest about it. He's not playing well, and Denver and the Minnesota Timberwolves are strapping him up. Whether it's Alexander Walker, whether it's Jaden McDaniels, whether it's Anthony Edwards, it doesn't matter who they put on him. He's having a difficult time scoring on anybody right now. And then he's so frustrated that he's throwing towels and heat packs on the court and at the ref. He just got fined $100,000 for doing that. And not only that, he could have injured his own teammate. Reggie Jackson was already dealing with a nagging injury, and he threw the heat pack out there, and he was like maybe 3 or 4 inches away from stepping on the heat pack, and he could have slipped and pulled his hamstring again or something, pulled his groin. Who knows what could have happened? And he almost caused that. And then his reaction was, "It is what it is. I accept the responsibility." No, it ain't. It is what it is, man. You got to say, I got, taking accountability is more than just saying I take accountability. I hope some people understand that. It's more than just that. It's what you have to do is look at what you did and look at the consequences of what it could have cost. Like I said, you could have hurt someone else on the other team, but you also could have hurt your own teammate. Now, Reggie Jackson did end up leaving the game, but that was from a different incident. Taking accountability is saying, you know what, that was a mistake on my end. That was something that I can't let the game get to my head like that. That's not something I can allow. I got to be a better leader than that, and it won't happen again. Like, you got overly frustrated, and then y'all talk about LeBron crying all the time. You were crying the entire game. And it's because the refs were allowing everybody to play. They weren't calling ticky-tack fouls nowhere. They didn't even call a tech on your coach. And he got in the ref's face. But you throwing heat packs and towels because you're not getting the calls that you think you should have. Look, it's a physical game. It's the playoffs. Some things that they allow in the regular season, they're not going to allow in the playoffs. The calls that you get in the regular season don't happen. Ask James Harden. Ask him. We know what he's known for in the regular season. He gets 30, 40, 50-point games from shooting like 20, 30 free throws in a game. But what happens in the playoffs? Tell me how many times James Harden has gotten to the conference finals. Tell me how many championships he got. Because they don't call the same game they do in the regular season that they do in the playoffs. So Jamal Murray, I mean, you a champion. I'm not. It's not taking away from your championship. You are an NBA champion, but come on, Jamal. You gotta do better than that. Gotta do better than that. It's not you, man. It's not you. It's not you. Not something that I think, it's just not acceptable. And you gotta do better. So Jamal Murray, welcome to the doghouse. My guy, you in the doghouse. But don't worry, Jamal. You're not the only one that's observed from this. I also got a problem with your teammate as well. Nikola Jokic. You just won the MVP. How could you, Dave, put the MVP of the league, who was just announced yesterday, in the doghouse? Well, it ain't got nothing to do with what happened in the regular season. I'm talking about these last two games against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So in the first game, you actually played what they believe was you could say it's a really good game. 32 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 steals. Good. However, you also had 7 turnovers in that game. You normally don't turn the ball over a lot, but this Minnesota Timberwolves defense is starting to get to you guys. And it's causing y'all to have a lot of turnovers, including especially you. That was the second game in a row you've had 7 turnovers. So in the very last game against the Lakers, you had 7 turnovers. And in the first game, you had 7 turnovers against the Timberwolves. You won that game, though, so you didn't get a lot of flack for having 7 turnovers, even though I think it should have been talked about. That was your first game-win loss since 2019. Now, the Wolves held you to just 16 points the last game. It's the MVP, though. MVP got to step up when it matters all the time. But it seems like this physical defense is frustrating y'all. They also had 7 blocks. This defense had 7 blocks, 7 more blocks than the Nuggets, and 5 more steals than the Nuggets. And that happened without Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, even playing in the game. You're averaging 5.5 turnovers in this series so far, and you're a minus 28. That don't look like MVP-esque to me. Not saying that you didn't deserve MVP or that you shouldn't have been in MVP conversation, but you're not playing like one against the Timberwolves. And I bet you a lot of people don't know this either, unless you're in the NBA chat and you are, you see what I post. But y'all know Nikola Jokic just never beaten a 50-plus win team in the playoffs in his career? Like, never. He never has. Not one win. So, y'all let me know if y'all think it's going to happen this time. I don't think they get swept, but it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. Doesn't look like they're going to win the series. Only 7.3% of teams beat teams after being down 2-0. Now, we know what happened with the Clippers last year, but how likely is that to happen to a team that's never beaten the 50-win team? You tell me. I don't know. Don't know. Don't know at all. Don't see it happening. So, Nikola Jokic, MVP. Welcome to the doghouse. My guy, you in the doghouse. All righty. Now, we got one last person to talk about in the doghouse. And I wonder if y'all will know exactly who I'm talking about. Part of one of the youngest teams to play in the NBA this year. Played pretty. I'll say he's played pretty good up to this point. Don't think he's a bad player at all, but definitely think it's time to step up when it matters, and that's not something that had happened. Now, I don't think a lot of people expected them to be where they are at this moment, or where they were. Only one of the fans that I know of actually expected them to be in this position when they got here. And I like to say that this was a, well-deserved playoff run for these guys. But Franz Wagner had a very bad time to have a bad game. Very bad time to have a bad game. Now, this is just to talk about that one game he had in Game 7. Orlando Magic took the Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games. They were up 18 points at one time, but ended up losing that game. They got outscored in the third quarter by one player. And then it just seemed like there was nothing else they could do. Paolo did his best to help his team out, but Franz was pretty much nowhere to be found. 6 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 6.66% from the field. So we got that. He was 1 of 15, which was terrible. 0 of 3, 0 of 5 from 3, and had the worst field goal percentage in a Game 7 in NBA history with a minimum of 15 shots taken. The worst in NBA history? There's no way you're not going to be put in the doghouse when you have the worst game in NBA history. Now, look. Now, you played well throughout the series until you got to that game. Game 7 is when it counts. You got You got Paolo stepping up doing what he can. Why you can't put up 15, put up 19, put up 20? We're not asking you to put up 30, but 6 points? And you only made 1 of 15 shots? Made none from 3, so you pretty much can't shoot. You gotta work on your jumper, man. You're going to become a liability. And this Magic team is young, and they're starting to grow. Top 5 seed in the East. Not too many people thought they would be this good. A top defensive team in the league. But we all know the 3-point percentage was not there. It was the bottom of the league. So surround this team with some shooting. And Franz, you got to get better. You got to get better because it's not going to work out. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Not going to do it at all. So, Franz, I'm expecting you to step up and do better next year. But if not, then you know where you're going to stay. So, Franz Wagner, welcome to the doghouse. My guy, you in the doghouse. And that concludes the doghouse for this week. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and talk about the dogs. But before I do, just going to have a quick commercial break. So see you soon.
Yo, my name is Lambo Anlo.
This is Dimitri.
This is Ed Hahn.
My name is Daryl Julian, and this is
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to Lose Sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it. They told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie. I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win, apply myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, apply myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse.
All right, I'm back. Now we got to talk about the dogs of the week. Dogs of the week. The guys that have stepped up, that have done phenomenal in their times, especially with, how everything has played out so far, including the playoffs. So, although his team is down 0-1 right now to the Boston Celtics, I believe that he needs to be talked about because this team wouldn't be where he is without him. And I'm talking about Spider, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell right now has as many 30-point playoff games as Jason Tatum and LeBron James since he entered in the NBA. He scored 44% of the Cavs' points in Game 7 against the Orlando Magic. In Game 6 and 7 of the Orlando Magic. Sorry. And if you don't know he scored 89 points in those 2 games. 89. So he's the reason they beat the Orlando Magic. He outscored the Orlando Magic by himself 17-15 in the third quarter. By himself. He has the third most points in the Game 7 in Cavaliers history. We know who has the other 2. It's LeBron James, but Donovan Mitchell put up 39. He had 50 in the game before. In Game 6, he put up 50. and then he put up 39. What's going on, Teddy? My guy, Teddy, BWT. But yeah, man, Donovan Mitchell has been playing phenomenal throughout these playoffs, especially for them. And even in the loss against the Celtics, he put up 33 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Only Kyrie and LeBron have more 30-point playoff games for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And he hasn't even been a Cavalier that long. It's only been 2 seasons. And he's up there with those 2 guys. And we know Kyrie was there for a while. Him and LeBron James both won the championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And, he's doing this pretty much by himself, and he doesn't have someone else that can really much score as much as he can. You would think that it would be Darius Garland Jr., but he's not doing it. They went and signed Max Strus in free agency. We all know he ain't that kind of a scorer, at least consistently. It can happen every now and then, like every once in a blue moon, but that's just not what Max Strus is. Max Strus is supposed to be a 3-point shooter, and he's not that consistent. Mobley, he can't even really shoot. Jared Allen is, I think he was out game 1, so he didn't even play. It's only so much that Donovan Mitchell could do by himself, and he's been playing great throughout this playoffs right now. Like I said, he's the one that led his team to beat the Orlando Magic in round 1 in 7 games. 89 points over 2 games. Over 120 points in 3 games. So he's been balling, man. He's been balling. He's been doing everything he needs to do to help his team win. And man, at some point you got to give praise when it's just due. And Donovan Mitchell, we all know how good he can be. We know how good he was with the Utah Jazz. We remember that trade that happened for him to go to Cleveland, and Utah pretty much started over. All they have now, they got, guys like Jordan Clarkson, and, I believe they have Kelly Olynyk. They got those guys. So Utah has did a lot of reloading, but Spidey's trying to do whatever he can in Cleveland, and that wasn't necessarily a spot he wanted to go, but that's where he got traded to. So I just want to say he's playing well so far, but to me, I don't think it's going to be enough. But I still want to give him praise for what he's done. So, Donovan Mitchell, welcome to the Dogs. Hey, look, my boys in Cancun, Jimmy Butler didn't play, so I'm looking on to next season right now. I ain't even worried about that. I do wish the Celtics would lose every game from here on out, but we talk about reality right now. So, all right. So next up, after him, who else has been playing great? So another guard in basketball that's been doing a phenomenal job this playoffs, and I've been very, very impressed with what he's done without his second best player on his team. He's a Villanova boy, 1 of 3, but he's the best player on the team right now. Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is the only player in NBA history to have 4 straight games of scoring 40 points and getting 5 assists. The only player in NBA history. You can't find someone else. He's the first and only at this time. He also is top 6 in the NBA in the playoffs right now with the highest offensive estimated plus minus of plus 4.4. So far this playoff, he's averaging 36.6 points per game, 8 assists, shooting 44% from the field, 30% from three, and 82% from the free throw line. Against the Pacers in the regular season, he put up 39 points, 40 points, and 28 points. They are now leading that right now. They are now leading that series 2-0 after the game that happened last night. You know, if you watched the game, you saw that he went out with a foot injury and then came back and led this team to a win. It could be a questionable win. Like I said, the Pacers submitted 78 calls to the league office because they feel like that game definitely went in the Knicks' favor because of the refs. Now, I can't get fined for, what happened. But if you watch that game, it definitely was crazy. There were a lot of questionable calls in that second half, and it definitely seemed like, it seems like it really went into the Knicks' favor. But all I gotta say is that, man, it's been a crazy playoff run for Jalen Brunson. He put up most points in a game this playoff. He has 3 of those. This year, he's put up 47, 41, and 40, and 43. So he scored 40 points in 4 straight playoff games this year. Crazy. He's averaging more points and assists right now than Luka Doncic this postseason. Jalen Brunson is doing this without Julius Randle on the floor. Now, he has OG Anunoby, who came over from the trade in Toronto. He still has Josh Hart, who's definitely stepped up. Dante DiVincenzo has also been balling in this. Josh Hart has been phenomenal as a rebounder. Like, the guy's only, 6'4", 6'5", and he's rebounding the ball like that. So it's not like he doesn't have any help. But he doesn't have, like I said, Julius Randle is considered one of the best forwards in the league. And he's gone for the rest of the season. And right now, Jalen Brunson has them up 2-0, about to go on the road to Indiana to see if they can steal one on the road. They're the favorites to win this series. And right now, they're up 2-0. And it could be questionable 2-0, but you can't question his play. He's been balling. He's been balling out. So Jalen Brunson, you can question some of the calls he's gotten, but can't question his play. He's been balling. So Jalen Brunson, welcome back to the Dogs. And Tomo, you're right. And Josh Hart has been playing the entire game, averaging 48.2 points, 48.2 minutes in this playoffs. And the only reason why it's 48.2 because he played in overtime. He played in overtime one time, but he's played every minute of every game in the playoffs so far. That's crazy. That is crazy. Someone that's out there all game. Now, we know Tibbs does that all the time, but man, ridiculous. Okay, enough basketball talk. There are some other things that have been going on in this that have been good in the sports world, especially in baseball. We got some teams that have been playing phenomenal throughout the time, and being able to do some of these things that they've been doing this season. And I have yet to talk about this team. who was one of a few teams that have about 20 wins this year. You got the Braves, the Royals, the Brewers, the Cubs, the Guardians, the Dodgers, the Orioles, and the Yankees, and the Philadelphia Phillies. The Philadelphia Phillies have 24, 25 wins in the season right now, most in the league. They've won 17 of the last 18 games. And one of their best players, their best player, Bryce Harper, right now has a 33.3 batting average right now. Almost a 50% on base percentage. 6 home runs, 21 RBIs, and 14 runs. Winning 17 of the last 18 games. Not only that, they have a 12-1 odds to possibly win the World Series this year. And they have the most shutouts from any team this year. The Philadelphia Phillies have the most shutouts this year. They look like they're ready to win, at least to me. And as Teddy would say, Bryce Harper. That's how he calls his name, Bryce Harper. The Phillies are a really good team, man. A really good team. And Bryce Harper is, look like he wants to win the championship with the Phillies. He wasn't a part of the Nationals team when after he left, they went and won a World Series title. And now just seems like he don't miss it at all. The Nationals aren't as good, even though they did win his championship and he didn't. We remember the press conference where he talked about bringing the championship to Washington. And, there was a championship board there, but he wasn't a part of it. But the Phillies are like, nah, it's okay. It's all right. We have an opportunity to win one here. We're building a team to give you an opportunity to compete. And right now in the National League, we got the best record. We got the best record. Not the Braves. We do. We got the best record. So it's time for us to show you guys how serious we are. And right now, even though, like I said, it's still early in the season, it's 162 games in Major League Baseball. So it's, a lot of people there are some teams that can be really good now that can end up being bad later on in the year. But right now, we're talking about right now. And the Philadelphia Phillies, I believe, are well deserving of being part of the Dogs. So welcome to the Dogs, Philadelphia Phillies. My guy, you in the doghouse. Sorry. Wrong button. Wrong button. Now. This one kind of sort of pains me just a smidge, just a little bit, because man, how I wish this guy was a part of my favorite hockey team. He's really good. He's really, really, really good. He plays for the Rangers. He's helped his team win 6 straight games to start the postseason. Igor Shesterkin. Igor Shesterkin, the goalie for the Rangers. He has 29 straight playoff games without allowing more than 3 goals. Only Jonathan Quick in NHL history has a longer streak. like I said, 6 wins to start the postseason. They swept the Capitals. My goodness. And right now are up 2-0. In the very last game, there were 57 shots against him, 54 saves. He has a 94.7 shot save percentage and only allowing about 2 goals a game. 6 wins in 6 games. 6 of 6. He ain't messing around, man. One of the best goalies in the league. And he's in the game, in the last game against the Capitals. He had 22 saves out of 24 shots that were taken against him. So the team was playing good defense, period. And a 91.7 save percentage. He got his first career sweep against the Washington Capitals. I'm a Capitals fan, so it pains me to even say that. Alexander Ovechkin got swept for the first time in his career. It's crazy. It's crazy. But if you look at what these guys are doing, then it's crazy. It's crazy. So shout out to Igor and the Rangers for doing what they need to do and advancing 2-0 right now in their series. Look like they're gonna win another one. So welcome to the Dogs, Igor. All righty. Now, this one is going to be a tad different. It's not even the sport we have covered on the show, but we have a chat for this. Young guy who has not been in the league very young. He's only 24 years old. He drives for McLaren, racing under the British flag. Just won the Miami Grand Prix. Lando Norris. Lando Norris is a British and Belgian racing driver currently competing in the Formula One with McLaren. Formula One is F1 racing, if you guys didn't know. He had a successful karting career. He won a karting world championship in 2014. And this was his very first win in F1 racing. And this was his first F1 race. Well, this is his first F1 race win. He's won in a pole position. He's the 21st British winner in F1 history. 2 sprint poles, 16 podiums, 8 P2s and 7 P3s. He led this race from lap 29 all the way up until the last one at 57. Young guy in Miami, and we all know the relation. If you don't know, he has a great relationship with Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. If you look back at 2019, when Jimmy Butler, when he first got to Miami in that summer, he went and got in a car with Lando Norris, and in that racetrack, Jimmy's like 6'6", 6'7", and getting in that tiny car with this little guy. He's what, maybe 5'5", something like that, 5'6", 5'5", maybe my size. And they got in a racetrack together, and they've had a good relationship since then. And they pretty much root for each other. He's the number 4. He's in the number 4 pole position right now in the entire F1. You all know Verstappen is the guy that leads. He drives for Red Bull. And he was asked if they have an opportunity to win it next year, and he said 100%. And look, man, I like to root for guys that are, young and up and coming and doing what they can to compete with the other guys, and he's doing just that. So Lando Norris, Lenorris, welcome to the Dogs. Okay, enough of the. We got the F1 racing guy in there now. Now I got some things to talk about in soccer. So what's going on in soccer now? Well, if you really want to know, there's a team that's in the UEFA Champions League final going against Borussia Dortmund on June 1st in Wembley Stadium. Champions League final. Ooh, it's going to be a game to watch. I'm talking about Real Madrid. Real Madrid have won 4 matches despite conceding the first goal in the UEFA Champions League this season. The most by a side in a single campaign since Real Madrid did the same thing in 2016-2017 when it was 5. And they went on to win the trophy. So they went up against Harry Kane in the last game for Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, the team, if you add up all their transfer fees, it's about 742 million euros. Now, if we're talking about Real Madrid, it's only 371 million euros. And they're going to the Champions League final. That says a lot. Real Madrid has appeared in 6 of the last 11 finals, which is more than half. Guess how many they've won? They won the previous 5. So it seems like every time they go into the championship, they win. So if they lose, this would be the first time. Jose Lu, who plays for Real Madrid, has the best minutes per goal ratio, which is 1 goal every 54 minutes of any player to play at least 100 minutes in the UEFA Champions League this season. If that's not clutch, then I don't know what you consider clutch. Also, their manager, Carlo Ancelotti, is the first manager to ever reach 6 UCL finals. Real Madrid as a total has 18 UCL finals appearances, but they won the last 5 that they've gone to. And Vinicius Jr. was voted as the UEFA Man of the Match for Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. It's been a great season for Real Madrid, and they're in the UCL final again. I think you'd be crazy to vote against them, to say that they would lose. I'm picking them to win. But, like I said, anything happens, and you can't win them all. But right now, to me, it looks like they're going to win again. So, Real Madrid, welcome to the Dogs. My guy, you in the doghouse. That's the second time. Second time I hit the wrong button. All right, I got two more to go. Two more to go. Go back to baseball. I don't know if that's who I'm looking for. Bobby Wood Jr. for the Kansas City Royals, man. Bobby Witt has played. He's played pretty good this year, man. I wanted to talk about Bobby a while ago, but I believe I may have messed up on that. But Bobby Witt definitely has been playing really good this year. In the very last game that he played, 2 or 3, he had a solo home run, 3 runs, and a walk. The Royals are off to their best start since 2015. Most runs scored this season is by Bobby Witt Jr. with 33. He's ahead of guys like Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Ronald Acuna Jr. This season, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs, 27 runs. He's been walked 3. He's been walked about 4 times. He's the league leader in triples. He has 4 triples as well. 9 stolen bases. And got a big contract that he got, and he earning it. He earned it. So last year, when you look at what he was doing when he was hitting the 4-seam balls, it was a 26.6 average, 51% slugging percentage. He was 22.3, 223 average against sliders, and a 38% slugging percentage. This year, it's just improving. It's improving in every aspect, except for his slugging percentage when it comes to sliders. But 4-seam balls this year, 360 average, 80% slugging percentage. Sliders, 292 average, 37.5% slugging percentage. He balling. If you don't call that balling, then I don't know what you see. I'm not sure what your eyes are telling you. But Bobby Witt Jr. is leading this team, leading the Royals to, like I said earlier, their best start since 2015. He's done an amazing job. The Royals look good. He's leading the way. Bobby Witt Jr. is a really good baseball player, and he could be fighting for that MVP spot. He could be doing what he can to put himself in that conversation. I've been seeing his name a lot, and this is why I see his name a lot. As I continue to watch his game and watch him play, he very well deserves to be considered as a dog. So, Bobby Witt Jr., welcome to the Dogs. Okay, so the very last one, I head back to the NBA, but this isn't about a player. It's not about a coach. It's not even about one specific team. So GM. Well, he's the Minnesota Timberwolves president of basketball operations, Tim Connolly. Now, I don't know if anyone has ever talked about Tim Connolly in any segment, but I believe this needs to be talked about. We all remember the trade he pulled off last year, to where we all were questioning if it was smart. They gave up too much when he traded all those draft picks and players for Rudy Gobert. Well, just a year removed from that, because they weren't successful last year. It looked really bad. Didn't look like him, like Cat and Rudy should be on the same team. There were talks that maybe they should move Cat and keep Rudy and Ant. But it's working out now. Rudy Gobert has won the 4th Defensive Player of the Year, the most for a big man in NBA history. He was also the Denver Nuggets president of operations from 2013 up until May of 22 last year, May of 22. So he constructed the team that won the championship last year. He's the one that got that team together pretty much. He drafted Nikola. He got Nikola Jokic up there. He's the one that drafted Jamal Murray. He's the one that went and got Aaron Gordon to come over there. He put that team together, and they won a championship last year. Now, he wasn't there last year, but that team was constructed because he was there. And now, if you look at this year, Minnesota Timberwolves, top 3 team in the NBA. Number 3. The Nuggets were 2, but they were number 3. And they just won 2 straight road games against the Denver Nuggets, the defending champions, a team that they lost to in the first round last year. Going up against the MVP and Jamal Murray, champions, like I said, KCP, 2-time champ. He won a championship with the Lakers in the bubble. And then won a championship last year with the Nuggets. And they got held to 80 points the last game. 80 points. Tim Connolly, I don't think we can question if he's the guy or not. I think he's doing everything he needs to do to help his team. This has been really, really good for what he's done. Man, it's amazing to see someone build something somewhere else and continue to do it in a whole nother area. Guys like Pat Riley, he did it with the Lakers, did it with Miami. You got guys like Jerry West, who's known for doing everything that he's done. There's another name that I'm thinking of that I can't remember right now, but they're guys. There's a few guys that can build a championship in one place and build a contending team in another place. It's not too many guys that can do that, and Tim Connolly has done that. Like I said, the Timberwolves won 50-plus games this year, 3rd in the West. And not a lot of people thought they would be where they are because of what they did last year with Rudy Gobert and Cat. They thought that they would maybe make the play-in. And if they were going to make the playoffs, it would be maybe like a 6th seed or lower. But 3 seed, best defense in the league. And right now, best defense and offense in the playoffs. They held the Denver Nuggets to 80 points. Jokic had 16 points the last game. 16. It's almost unheard of for Jokic to only put up 16 and did not have like a double-double or triple-double. And this was without Rudy being on the floor. Nas Reed had some blocks in the game. You had, Jamal Murray getting picked up 94 feet. That to me is noteworthy. So I had to talk about Tim Connolly, and it was a great thing that he's been doing for the Timberwolves. And we all know what he did with the Nuggets. They won the championship last year. They're a contending team every single year as long as they're healthy. And right now, they're battling it out against each other. And the Timberwolves right now are the better team and have been winning. So, Tim Connolly, great job. Welcome to the Dogs. And there goes my Dogs of the week. Now, got to talk about my dishonorable mention of the week. Don't think I'm just going to take this long to talk about who I'm talking about because his team is playing in the playoffs right now. He was third in MVP voting this year. Third, not second, not first, third. And that player, if I can get to my notes, he's supposed to be, the leader with the Dallas Mavericks. But right now, it looks like someone else has been taking over. And that would be, that would be Luka Doncic. Luka. Luka has not played very well in the playoffs lately. He is shooting terribly. Yes, he does look injured. But his team is now and possibly going to be down 0-2 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So only played one game. OKC won that one. But I think Luka knows that he needs to step up. He said that he feels like he's been failing Kyrie, and he didn't really do much in the last game. In that last game against the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic struggled. You could tell. There's a lot of shots that he took that he normally makes, and he was just missing them. He just couldn't make them. And if you just look at his stats, he only put up 19 points in that game, 9 assists. He was 1 of 8 from 3, 6 of 19 from the field. He played 41 minutes. And yeah, he had 6 rebounds, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to help this team get to where they needed to be. And like I said, they didn't play particularly well. And that's because, he just didn't do what he was supposed to do. So I'll say this, though. I don't think the series is over. But they lost that game by 22 points. And unless someone other than him, other than Kyrie, scores 20, and that's not really a great game either. He only scored 20 points, 7 of 14 from the field, so 50%, but he only took 14. That's, it's not normal. They won't win the series if Luka doesn't play better. So Luka is who I have this week as my dishonorable mention. So Luka, you were third in MVP voting, but you haven't shot particularly well. So, Jalen Brunson got more points than just to you right now. And remember they said that, Jalen Brunson wasn't They said he didn't belong. He wasn't that guy. He looked like he a superstar to me right now. So come on, Luka. And my honorable mention of the week are the officiating crew for the Denver Nuggets and Timberwolves series. That's playoff basketball. When we say that things are different in the playoffs and that there are calls that you're just not going to get, that's playoff basketball. That's playoff basketball. You allow them to get physical. You allow things to happen. You don't give texts for ticky-tack calls. You know? Now, even though in the last series that, staring at somebody or talking trash got Anthony Edwards attacked, but in this series, they letting them play. They letting them be physical. They know that that's the way that the Timberwolves play, and they letting them allow them to play that way. And Denver can't handle it right now. They just can't. They can't handle it. That's why they down 0-2 to a team that they beat last year. And more times than not, it don't work out for the team that's down 0-2, especially when they were the home team. So all the home court momentum went down the hill. It's gone. You don't have it now. You got to go on the road and win those 2 games in Minnesota. But those refs, man, just a really good game call. And yeah, I was tuned in the entire game. The defense was great, and it was just, even Mike Malone got into the ref's face, and they still didn't call the tag. The referee got in his face too. But those refs for that series, they're doing a great job so far. That's playoff basketball. That's how you officiate playoff basketball. So I appreciate. If everyone else across the board could do that, there would be less complaints. The Pacers would love if they were there. So we'll see. All right, that concludes my episode for today. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Thank you for watching all the way through and tuning all the way into the end. Thank you for enjoying Dave's Doghouse. I hope you had a great show. Make sure you like this video and hit the notification button so you get an alert whenever I go live again or have another video and another episode. And also, last but not least, hit that share button. If you enjoyed this and you think someone else will enjoy it, share it. And also, thank you again for, tuning into this episode. And I'll see you next time. My guy, you in the doghouse.